Well, hello for this afternoon or this morning if that's when you're watching this video. My name is Mary DuBois and I am a resident homeowner here in Winter Park and have had the pleasure of having solar on our rooftop since 2015 through the help of an organization that Heaven is heading up. So Heaven, I'm going to let you introduce yourself here.
Yeah, thanks, Mary. My name's Heaven Campbell. I am the Florida Program Director of Solar United Neighbors. We are a national nonprofit and we help educate people about solar energy, help people go solar with their neighbors, and help people advocate for solar rights.
Well, Heaven, solar is getting more and more common, and we're seeing it on more and more rooftops right here in Central Florida. But yet so many people have had no direct experience with solar. So what are some of the kinds of questions that you get doing the kind of work you're doing about solar?
Great question, Mary. We actually have a national solar tour that we've run for a few years and do solar open houses to help people get that direct experience, because like you said, it's something that can still be foreign to a lot of people. We get a lot of questions about solar, from really mundane, how does it work, what's the simple technology that's driving this, to really in-depth questions like, is it going to impact my homeowner's insurance, or what happens during a hurricane? I would say the most common questions are about how it interacts with someone's roof or roof type and how long it lasts.
Exactly. Yeah. People will see it up on rooftops, but they don't really understand how it's working. So I think you've got a good graphic that could kind of explain that.
Yeah, I would love to share that. So this is an example of a family, a young growing family who chose solar to save um, electricity costs and save money on their home right here in Winter Park. And I'll also share just a really straightforward graphic about how solar works. So solar is the majority of the time on rooftops, but can also be on what we call a ground mount in someone's backyard, or even on a pergola or a carport. Solar needs to be directly exposed to the sun. So to have a good site for solar, you're going to need some space either in your backyard, or as I was just saying, a carport that can hold it, or about 200 square foot of uninterrupted space on your roof. Because it needs direct exposure to sunlight, we like to say little to no shading is what you're looking for. And where we're situated in the world, south exposure is going to work the best. East and west can also work. And if you have a flat roof or a certain pitch, north can sometimes work, but it's really not recommended. So those are kind of the 3 S's of what you need to even be able to utilize solar: southern exposure, shading or lack thereof, and space. And here's that graphic that I was talking about on how it works. It's very, very straightforward. I mentioned that it needs direct exposure to the sun, and that's because solar is made up of silicon cells, and that is a very simple technology that when exposed to photons from the sun, gets excited, the electrons get revving up and produce direct current, raw electricity. So that's kind of number 1 that you see there in that graphic, your panels being exposed to the sun. And then that DC direct current electricity runs into number 2, the second stop on that graphic, which is the inverter, because our homes use alternating current electricity. So you need an inverter. It's an integral part of your solar system to take that DC current and make it AC. The third stop in this graphic is your main panel, which is usually located in your garage. And your electricity that you produce is going to be used by you first and foremost in your home. So it's going to run through your main panel and into that little light bulb in this graphic, your home's needs. If you're not at home, maybe it's Tuesday at 2 p.m., your panels are producing away, you are going to send that surplus that you're not using, but you are producing, back through number 4, which is your electric meter, and out into the grid so that your neighbors can enjoy that clean, fresh energy. So that's really the gist of it. It's pretty simple.
Does it require a lot of maintenance?
Because there are no moving parts in the panel, it does not require a lot of maintenance. So right now we're in pollen season. The good thing about Florida is that we get enough rainfall that usually just wipes all that dirt and pollen. It just cleans it right off of your panels. Sometimes you may see it really gunk up and you might want to clean them off a little bit, but there are no moving parts, so really not a lot of maintenance. We encourage people to have it checked out by their installer at least every 3 years.
Well, that's good news. But what about hurricanes? Because we certainly do have hurricanes here in Central Florida and occasionally some hail. Does that present a problem?
Or sometimes even tornadoes.
Yes.
That is a great question. And like I mentioned earlier, one of the most common questions that we get at Solar United Neighbors of Florida is about hurricanes. So panels themselves are very sturdy. They're made of tempered glass and an aluminum and stainless steel frame. Not only are the panels sturdy, and they are rated for ice falls, which is what the spec sheet says, or as we call it, hail, as well as down pressure from wind and uplift. They also hook together to your roof with a racking system that depends on your roof type. It's tailored to be the best fit for whatever roof type you may have, whether it's clay, tile, or an asphalt shingle, or even a metal standing seam roof. And along with that racking system, which is also rated for extreme weather, the whole system is designed by a professional engineer and stamped and submitted to your local permitting and building office for the local codes that are in place to make sure that it meets those codes as well. So very hurricane resistant parts, and the system altogether is designed to meet local wind code requirements and withstand both hail and high wind, which is what we're usually referring to when we talk about hurricanes.
I want to give a notice that the city of Winter Park on its own website has a solar page with lots of good information, and the website for Solar United Neighbors is just chock full with all kinds of great information. Well, let's talk a little bit about a solar co-op. What is a solar co-op, and how do people benefit when they join?
Yeah, a solar co-op is our staple programming here at Solar United Neighbors. So this is the way that we facilitate groups of homeowners in a specific region coming together and leveraging their bulk purchasing power to be able to not only go solar together and have the support of the group, but also have our support and be able to get a great price for quality equipment through leveraging that bulk purchasing power.
And I think statewide, there's been over 60 solar co-ops since 2015. So people are stepping up and choosing this as an option to go solar. And certainly,
Definitely.
yeah. And the very first solar co-op was right here in Winter Park. So there's going to be another one coming up. When will that arrive, do you think?
Very soon. So in the next couple of months, we're going to have another solar co-op that's open to all of Winter Park, all of Orange County, actually. And if you want to get ahead of the ball and be able to join our wait list, is what we're calling it, and be the first to hear about that, we do have a webpage that you can go ahead and join the wait list, and we will go ahead and review your roof and give you some feedback on your exposure and roof age, things that you need to be considering beforehand while you're thinking about potentially going solar.
Is solar just for rich people, or can other people afford it?
Great question. As you saw in that picture, it's a great option for a growing family. It's a really good way to set some budgetary controls for the future for your electric bill. And not only that, not only are you setting a budget for yourself for the future and having a lot of control over, one, how your energy is made and where it's produced, but also your energy savings for the future. it's really an investment. This is a long-term investment, which has it low risk and very high return on investment. So in some cases, people are seeing 10 to 14% return on investment.
What do you say, what do you recommend for people who have a roof that might be, 15 years old? What should they do in that case?
So as I was just mentioning, we have this wait list, and I can share the webpage now. It's just solarunitedneighbors.org/waitlist. Whenever you join that, if you do indicate to us that you have an older roof, then we're going to send you some educational material about what that means for your solar journey. If you only have a few years left on your roof life, then you do want to consider replacing your roof in conjunction or before going solar, because solar is very long lasting. The lifespan of solar is warranted at 25 or more years. And after that warranty is up, your solar doesn't just, drop off of a cliff and stop producing. It will continuously produce for several decades.
Now, how is my insurance company going to look at my solar panels?
So solar is not like a pool. It is low risk. It's not something that is considered a risk. It can actually extend the lifetime of shingles that are underneath of the panels. But we always encourage people to let their homeowner's insurance know. There are a couple of reasons why you need to do that. First off, it does add value to your home. So you may need to increase your coverage if your coverage is already close to your home value. And while it adds value to your home, we actually have a property tax abatement here in Florida. So it will not increase your property taxes. We have 100% abatement for residential property taxes and solar energy equipment. And then the second reason that you need to let your homeowner's insurance know is to see if it's covered under your hurricane deductible and to keep them in the loop. The majority of insurers do not have any problem with solar and are familiar with it. Some do need some education, and we can help with that. And then there are a few that are not currently writing for solar.
Well, I'm going to ask you one last question, which always comes up in the conversation is, well, who are these installers that work with the co-ops and how are they selected?
We have a really robust installer industry here in Florida. The not only installer industry, but we actually have a couple manufacturers here in Florida as well. We have a plant in Jacksonville and one down in Riviera Beach. So this is really a growing industry. It's the fastest growing job market in Florida. We've been really proud of that report coming from the Solar Foundation that year over year, we have the fastest growth in the solar industry jobs. Installers are sometimes statewide, but a lot of times local shops. So they are your local small business that are in your backyard. Not only do they usually bid on the co-ops, and we have the majority of installers that are selected are local installers to that area, but there are dozens of more installers that are operating around the state that maybe don't participate in our co-ops, but are really highly reputable, great companies. So there's a couple places that we refer people to so that they can find out more about the installers that are operating in their area. One is NABCEP, and that's a national accreditation that installers can go through. And we have more information on that on our website, and you can find NABCEP certified installers near you. And then the second is FLICIA. So that's the Florida Solar Energy Industries Association. Again, really awesome industry here in Florida. It's been growing and it's becoming more and more robust. And FLICIA is really the industry leader, the association that's gathering everybody in. And their website has a lot of information.
Well, Heaven, how could people actually contact you if they wanted to?
Great question. If they want to get in touch with us, they can email us at floridateam@solarunitedneighbors.org or visit the website, solarunitedneighbors.org/Florida. We've worked really hard to make sure we're pulling a wealth of information on our website. We have a blog where we post articles, things about, the ITC, the federal tax credit extension. We just issued a blog on solar myths and some answers to those common myths, how to spot solar scams. So really trying to make sure that we are at the forefront of consumer protection and providing answers to questions maybe you don't even know you have yet. We have a really great FAQ section as well as handy guides. So maybe you're already a solar homeowner and this is your first time hearing about us. We have a solar owner's guide. We have a storage guide if you're interested in adding batteries to your system, or whenever you go solar, you want to add batteries to your system. So I encourage everyone to just go on our website and click around and find some useful information, hopefully.
So whether you're curious or serious about solar, Solar United Neighbors has a great website, and checking out the co-op would be a good thing to do this summer. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mary.
Bye-bye.